This is the Xiaomi Watch S4 41mm edition. So the watch came out on the 24th of September. I actually was really lucky where I got this a little bit earlier, so I've been testing this for over 2 weeks now. The main question I had when I received the watch was, how much better is it than the original S4, just because the S4 currently is £20 cheaper. So in this video we'll take a look at what's similar between the 41mm and the original, and also what's different between them, and at the end I'll do a conclusion to see if the 41mm is worth getting over the original. Just before we jump in to see the similarities, I wanted to show you guys what the watch looks like in natural light out in the real world, because I'm actually a fan of the design. I love the fact it's minimalist, I really like that it's just very clean, and also with it being slightly smaller, it just makes it look a little bit more elegant and a little bit more fancy. I'm not really sure why, but I'm just a massive fan of that look in general. So let's jump in to the similarities. Starting off with the resolution, they both have the same resolution. However, as the 41mm is smaller, it is higher in pixel density. They both have a 60Hz display, which means it looks and feels very fast, very fluid, really smooth. And I'm really happy to see more watches with a higher refresh rate, just because pretty much most smartphones on the market right now have that higher refresh rate. So when your smartwatch doesn't, you notice it. This definitely feels fast, it feels fluid, and very happy that both watches have 60Hz. Both also have a water resistance rating of 5 ATM, which means you can swim with it, which is really helpful because it actually has loads of sports tracking, and this is for both watches. They both can track over 150 different sports. They also look very similar in terms of the watch faces, because they both share the same watch faces and utility, and just in general how you use the watch, especially with the spinning button at the top and the button at the bottom. Both of them very similar in how you use it, so there's no real difference there. In terms of tracking, they both have pretty much the exact same sensors and can track the exact same thing in terms of heart rate, in terms of steps, and also in terms of sleep. However, the 41mm has an extra sensor for skin temperature. It has a thermal sensor inbuilt in it, which means it can tell you your body temperature. They both also have removable watch straps, which is a massive win for me, just simply because the default watch strap with most watches, including both of these, is silicone, and I'm not a massive fan of that, especially for some scenarios. For sports and other things, yes, but just all-round comfort, I prefer a nylon woven sort of band, and because this is just a generic sort of band size, you can easily find a replacement for quite cheap, but you do need to check what size it is, because there is a slight difference between each of the watches, where the 41mm is slightly smaller. And lastly, they both have the same app. So in terms of tracking everything, heart rate, sleep, oxygen level, you have the same app to see all the metrics. And it's really easy to use. You just need to tap into whatever metric tracking you want, and it'll give you the daily tracking. And then obviously you can change it to previous days, previous weeks, and you also can find a little breakdown of further information within each section. So really easy to use app, and it gives you all the information you'd ever need. Now let's move on to the differences, with the main one being that the 41mm is smaller and thinner, but because of this it also has a smaller battery. The original S4 could hold up to 15 days of battery life, whereas this one, the 41mm, only goes up to 8 days of battery life, which I think is still pretty good, especially as other smartwatches on the market, most of them only can do a couple of days, 3-4 days at the max, where this can go up to 8 days, over double a bunch of its competitors. Also, the materials are slightly different. In the 41mm, it's completely made out of stainless steel, whereas the S4 original is made out of stainless steel and also aluminium or aluminum, so it does have a bit more of a premium material on the 41. The 41mm also has an extra sensor. It has a temperature sensor, so it can track your body temperature, your skin temperature, and this is pretty good because it can highlight illness or other sort of metrics, so it's just helpful to have, in my opinion, an extra sensor. And also another difference is the 41mm has a new chip, the T1, which is said to be 35% more efficient, which is always a good thing. Just before we get into the conclusion, I just wanted to make a statement about the tracking and the sensors. I have been testing this watch against a whole bunch of others just to see how it does with steps, heart rate, sleep, how the metrics sort of track against other smartwatches to see if it's fairly accurate. And I have to say there's nothing that jumped out to me where I was like, oh, this is way off. In terms of most of the other tracking that I did, they're all pretty much thereabouts the same, especially with some of the more expensive watches I have, which I know and trust the tracking of. It's been pretty much on the same level, pretty much par. So in terms of the tracking and the sensors and if they're good quality, I have no issues with them and I feel they are pretty decent. And yes, if you're wondering, I did wear 2 watches just to check the data and compare for over 2 weeks. So I look like an idiot for 2 weeks, but what's new? So to conclude, the main differences between the original S4 and the S4 41mm, the 41mm is lighter, it's thinner, it has a slightly more pixel dense screen, which is always a win. It also has an extra sensor with the thermal sensor, which tracks your body temperature, and all round just has a better processor, which makes it a little bit faster, a little bit snappier. The only drawbacks is it does have a smaller battery because of the smaller footprint, and it also is £20 more expensive than the original S4 currently right now. So which would I go for? It is a no-brainer for me. I would definitely go for the 41mm simply because it is lighter and thinner. Obviously, the better chipset is a big positive, and also the extra sensor is really good, and also having a slightly clearer screen is also a really big win. But for me personally, it being lighter and thinner is the deal breaker over the original S4, simply because day to day when I'm out and about in the day, you won't really notice the watch as much. It's at night, especially for sleep tracking. I want something that I don't necessarily feel, especially when I'm trying to go to sleep. So something being lighter and thinner is 100% better. So all round, my experience will just be better with the thinner watch. The battery life compromise, it is a bit of a drawback, but it does last over 4 days easily, even with moderate use. And there's loads of smartwatches on the market right now that only last 2 days. So it lasts double the time. It also is fast charging, so it charges really quick. So I don't think that is a massive drawback for me, especially the win over the weight and also the size, just being more comfortable for my lifestyle. That's what I think, guys. I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys next time.